After we announced I was pregnant, the plan my sister-in-law cooked up to humiliate me during my husband's party completely backfired. She ended up behind bars and eventually got divorced. I'm 31 now, and I've been married to Ethan for the past 7 years. For the most part, I love our marriage. It's solid. The only thorn in our side has been his sister, Brielle. She's brought nothing but drama and negativity into our lives. Now, I'll be honest, when I first met Brielle, I actually liked her. I thought she was great, but it didn't take long for that opinion to flip. Over time, I came to see how toxic, manipulative, and downright negative she really is. Even knowing what kind of person she was, I still put in the effort to stay on her good side over the years. Back when Ethan was 17, he dated Brielle's best friend, but it didn't last. He'd only felt pressured into it because of her. Then, when he was 22 and single again, Brielle decided he should be with another one of her friends. But he wasn't interested. When he turned her down, she went crying to their parents, insisting he needed to marry someone she felt comfortable with. His parents didn't really take her side, though. They barely paid attention to her drama during that whole ordeal. Meanwhile, while Ethan and I were getting to know each other and falling in love, his parents were incredibly supportive. But Brielle? She stayed cold and distant from day one. Whenever I was around, Brielle would go out of her way to bring up Ethan's exes, like it was some sort of game. She'd talk about how great they were doing, drop hints that Ethan should reach out to them, and just make things awkward. It was weird, and Ethan noticed too. He even asked her a few times to knock it off. But instead of stopping, she'd get angry and accuse me of being jealous. She'd say Ethan deserved better, and that I wasn't the kind of woman he should be with. Whenever his parents invited us over for dinner, she'd coincidentally invite one of his exes too, claiming she just ran into them that day and couldn't help herself. And even though she doesn't follow me, she's always lurking on my Instagram. My account's public, so I noticed she's always the first to view my stories. If a guy ever commented on one of my pictures, she'd go running to Ethan, complaining that I was posting inappropriate stuff online. Honestly, Ethan and I would just laugh at how ridiculous her claims were. When Ethan and I decided to move in together, she actually tried to convince him to break up with me. Told him I had all kinds of flaws and that she could find someone way better for him. That hurt, especially since I'd only ever treated her with kindness. But it only got worse after Ethan and I got engaged. At our engagement party, everyone was thrilled for us. But Brielle? She sat there quiet the whole time. Then, out of nowhere, she stood up and stormed out. Later, she called Ethan in tears, yelling about how she should have been told before anyone else. She said she was the closest person to him and felt betrayed. Not long after that, she sent me this bizarre, almost threatening message. She went on about how I needed to treat her brother right because she'd always been the most important woman in his life. It honestly gave me chills. I didn't even respond, I just left her on read. I figured that probably ticked her off even more. From that point on, Brielle started straight up ignoring me whenever we saw each other. Strangely enough, she stayed involved in all the wedding stuff like dress shopping and my bridal shower. And despite being called out multiple times by both Ethan and his mom, she never stopped criticizing everything about the wedding. It got worse and more open, like she didn't care anymore who saw. One time, she overheard me chatting with my future mother-in-law about the centerpieces. Right away, she jumped in with a snide comment, saying my taste was tacky and that this was exactly why she wished her brother had chosen someone better. That was the last straw. I completely lost it. I told her loud and clear that she wasn't welcome at the wedding anymore. I was done with her non-stop insults and jabs. She looked stunned, like it never occurred to her I might finally stand up for myself. Even my mother-in-law backed me up, which only made Brielle angrier. Later on, Brielle called Ethan, whining about how I'd embarrassed her and telling him he needed to control me since I was going to be his wife. Ethan shut that down fast. He told her he stood by my decision, and that if she didn't apologize, she wouldn't be coming to the wedding. She eventually sent me a long apology message. Seemed sincere, but I didn't bother replying. I was exhausted from all the wedding prep and had no patience left for her drama. In the end, she did show up to our wedding, mostly because I didn't want to give her any ammo to claim we excluded her. Everyone else stuck to the pastel and blush pink theme, but Brielle showed up in a floor-length black dress with a veil. Honestly, she looked like she was headed to a funeral. She wandered around the reception acting heartbroken, telling guests how devastated she was to be losing her brother to another woman. Ethan eventually had a word with her about her outfit and the scene she was causing. She tried to spin it like I was controlling and she had every right to wear what she wanted. Eventually, her behavior got so disruptive that Ethan's parents asked her to leave. I was mortified. After that day, I decided I was done with her for good. When I gave birth to our son, Caleb, I made it clear that Brielle wasn't allowed anywhere near him. She tried to fight me on it, but Ethan's parents had my back 100%. They completely understood why I didn't want her around our baby. A couple of years ago, Brielle had a miscarriage with her then-boyfriend, Logan. It broke her. It was a really hard time for everyone. Ethan and I, even with our own child to care for, felt genuinely bad for her. So we eased up a little after that. We let her come over now and then so she could spend time with Caleb. To my surprise, she was actually sweet to him. I'll admit it caught me off guard. At first, she seemed like she'd changed. But gradually, the old Brielle came back. She went right back to talking about how unfair her life was, blaming everyone else, ex-friends, former bosses, you name it. I realized she never thinks she's in the wrong, no matter what. Brielle has this pattern. She's always trying to win sympathy by playing the victim and rarely admits to any fault when she's confronted. So earlier this year, she decided to get married and sent out invites to just about everyone except us. That alone said a lot. Considering things between us had seemed to improve, Ethan was honestly caught off guard. Naturally, we asked her about it. That's when she straight up told us she didn't want me there because she feared I'd somehow cause a scene at her wedding. That threw me. I mean, I've never done anything to her to deserve that kind of suspicion. I called her and asked her why in the world she'd think I'd pull something like that. And then she said it. She admitted she wore all black at our wedding on purpose just to make a statement, and now she was paranoid that I might try to return the favor. That's why she didn't want me anywhere near her big day. I was livid. I told Ethan plainly how manipulative she was being. He had a talk with his parents about everything, and after that he made a decision. He told Brielle that not only would we not be attending her wedding, but they also wouldn't be helping her pay for it anymore. That sent Brielle spiraling. She broke down in tears and immediately blamed me for the whole thing falling apart. Her fiancé, Logan, actually stepped in at that point and told her she had no business blaming me when she had openly admitted she was the one in the wrong. Brielle tried to walk it back, saying I should let it go because our wedding had happened a long time ago. A few days later, she reached out to me directly, apologized, and asked me to forgive her, probably because my in-laws still refused to fund the wedding. I'll give her this: when she wants something, Brielle can turn on the charm. And in that moment, I just wanted peace. I let it go and forgave her, hoping we could finally move forward. Her wedding to Logan went off without a hitch. Everyone showed up, we all had a decent time, and for a moment, things felt normal. But not even 6 months later, Brielle was back at our doorstep complaining about how her marriage was falling apart. Ethan and I let her stay with us for a few days while she vented nonstop about Logan. It was like a broken record. Apparently, they'd been struggling to get pregnant, and of course, Brielle blamed Logan entirely. When I tried to talk with her one-on-one, she doubled down, saying it was all his fault, no question. And when she wasn't picking him apart, she started focusing on our lives, almost obsessively, finding problems where there weren't any. Here's an example. Most mornings I hit the gym before work. If I'm running behind, I'll pack my work clothes, finish my workout, shower there, and head straight to the office. Brielle had been noticing this and started asking all sorts of weird questions, like why I was showering at the gym or why I even needed to work out at all. I didn't think much of it and just explained that I like to stay in shape and I don't enjoy walking into work drenched in sweat. She'd nod, say nothing, but I noticed this strange little smirk on her face, like she was cooking up something. One afternoon at lunch, my mother-in-law was talking about a friend of hers who just divorced her cheating husband and walked away with half of everything. Out of the blue, Brielle cut her off and turned to Ethan. "Did you and she sign a prenup before you got married?" she asked, looking right past me like I wasn't even there. The table went dead silent. Ethan didn't even blink. He told her straight, "We didn't sign a prenup because we both do well financially, and it wasn't something we ever felt the need for." Brielle scoffed, shook her head, and muttered something about how anyone could be blindsided these days and that cheating was everywhere. That ticked me off. I asked her point blank what she meant by that. And then came the bomb. She accused me. Said I must be seeing someone else since I always carried a change of clothes and went to the gym in the mornings. She claimed, As Ethan's sister, it was her duty to protect him. I was speechless, completely blindsided. My father-in-law and mother-in-law immediately jumped in, telling her she was out of line and needed to stop sticking her nose into other people's marriages. But Brielle wasn't finished. She just kept going, insisting she was only trying to look out for Ethan. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she joked. Yes, joked. That maybe our son Caleb wasn't even Ethan's because he didn't look like him. That was it. I saw Ethan's face go red like I've never seen before. This man, who's normally calm and measured, just snapped. He stared her down and told her, in no uncertain terms, that she didn't deserve to be a mother. He said any child of hers would be better off in heaven than being raised by someone like her. Brielle sat there frozen, mouth hanging open in shock. Ethan's parents didn't say a word. They were stunned too. Then Ethan stood up, looked her right in the eye, and called her shameless. Said she was trying to destroy everyone else's life because she had nothing going for herself. Called her a loser who did nothing all day while her husband worked nonstop. He told her to stop projecting her misery onto other people and to focus on fixing her own marriage instead of accusing me of cheating and questioning our choices. Brielle broke down sobbing. She turned to Logan for support, but he didn't even flinch. He just sat there, silent. That kind of emotional outburst isn't like Ethan at all, but I can't say I blamed him. She eventually ran off to the bathroom, crying. My husband was still seething. I reached out and gently held his hand, and my mother-in-law came over to help calm him down. When he apologized to me for the awful things his sister had said about our son, I just nodded. I was shaken too, but honestly, felt good knowing he had finally stood up for me that way. He eventually cooled off and apologized to Logan, but didn't say a single word to Brielle. After that lunch, we completely cut contact with her. We told her if she wanted to reach out, she could, but we weren't going to keep opening the door just to be burned again. My in-laws spoke with us later and agreed this time Brielle had gone way too far. They'd never seen Ethan act that way, and it was a wake-up call. We haven't spoken to her in over a year. Life's been smooth since then. Then, just 2 months ago, I found out I was pregnant again. It wasn't something we were actively trying for, so it was a beautiful surprise. Ethan and I felt so blessed to be growing our family again. We decided to announce it during Ethan's birthday celebration. His parents were throwing a big party in their backyard, and it felt like the perfect moment. They wanted it to be special to honor their son. We invited all our closest family and friends. And wouldn't you know it? Brielle showed up after hearing about the party from someone else. The moment we saw her, Ethan and I froze. I told myself I'd sit down and talk to everyone that night, and I did. Here's what happened. That evening, I gathered with Ethan and my in-laws over dinner. Since my MIL and FIL were already staying with us, it felt like the right time to lay everything out. I took a deep breath before starting, feeling the weight of it all pressed down on my shoulders. As they leaned in around the table, I told them everything that went down at Ethan's birthday party. I explained how Brielle had handed me a plate of food, one that had shrimp on it despite knowing about my allergy, and how Logan ended up eating it and getting violently sick. Their faces mirrored my own disbelief as I walked them through it. ML and FIL exchanged a tense glance, clearly shaken. Ethan's expression shifted from confusion to something much darker. Pure fury, but silent. I kept going, sharing how Brielle's past behavior and all the strange comments she'd made had made me question whether this had really been an accident at all. I was nervous to say it outright, but I had to admit I was afraid for myself and our unborn baby. It wasn't easy to say those words aloud. My MIL, always practical even under pressure, immediately suggested we check the security footage from the cameras around the backyard. Fail agreed this was serious. Ethan didn't say much. He was clearly hurt and processing, but when we pulled up the camera footage, there was no room left for doubt. The video clearly showed Brielle handing me the plate. Then it showed Logan taking it and everything that happened after. No guesswork, no gray areas, just the facts. Watching it play out hit us all hard. The air felt heavy. Ethan was clearly trying to keep his emotions in check, but he was boiling inside. My in-laws looked completely crushed, realizing the daughter they raised had gone this far. We all sat there, stunned, asking the same question silently. Why would she do something like this? Given how serious this all was, my in-laws decided then and there to take the footage to the police. Since Logan was the one affected most directly, it would be up to him whether or not to press charges. So FL and Ethan planned to visit him after he recovered. I still feel sick thinking about it. I handed Logan the plate that was meant for me. I can't stop wondering what he's going to think when he finds out. The guilt eats away at me and sleep has been nearly impossible. Hey everyone, it's been a month and I'm finally back with another update. It's been an overwhelming time, especially being pregnant, but here's where things stand. Brielle's been arrested. Once my in-laws turned over the footage, the police moved fast. She didn't deny any of it, just broke down crying and admitted to everything. Logan was as stunned as the rest of us when Ethan told him the full story. Ethan, being the man he is, told Logan that no matter what he decided to do, he'd always be part of our family. But he also told him with no hesitation that he should press charges. What Brielle did wasn't just wrong, it was evil. Once Logan recovered enough, he decided to move forward with legal action. And he also filed for divorce. That set off another storm. Brielle started calling her parents in tears, begging for forgiveness. That's when she dropped the bomb, she's pregnant. She tried to guilt-trip them into bailing her out of jail, saying they should do it for the sake of their unborn granddaughter. But FL wasn't having it. He told her bluntly that it was time she took responsibility for her actions and that they weren't going to keep rescuing her from the consequences of her choices. My Emile is devastated, it's her daughter after all, but even she knows this can't be swept under the rug. The police have confirmed there was tampering with the food and clear intent to harm. The evidence is strong and the charges are serious: attempted poisoning, endangering lives, and food tampering, among others. Brielle's been desperately trying to get Logan to drop the charges. She keeps blaming me, saying this whole mess is somehow my fault. But Logan isn't budging. His mind is made up. Her court hearing is coming up soon, and honestly, I don't see any way out for her this time. As for us, thank you to everyone who's asked, we're doing okay. Our son doesn't know anything about what's going on yet. But Ethan and I have talked it over and we've agreed we'll have to tell him the truth one day. It'll be hard, but it's important. I've also been going in for regular ultrasounds every 2 weeks just to make sure everything's progressing smoothly. We've decided not to find out the baby's gender, we want it to be a surprise. Given everything, it's one of the few joyful unknowns we still have. My parents have been extra protective since everything went down, and I can't blame them. We're all just trying to move forward the best we can. They are urging me to see treatment since they are concerned this could compromise my psychological well-being during the pregnancy. I agree with them as, while behaving normally, I have a deep-rooted phobia of what Brielle did to my meals and avoid eating any outside food or anything I have not made myself. Hopefully, my husband will help me to overcome this illogical phobia as he knows about it and supports me all through. I last checked 7 months ago. Brielle is a prisoner right now. She came out guilty on the allegations. Though I never went to her court hearings, occasionally my in-laws would tell me how Brielle came clean to the court, admitting years of jealousy of me. She had always dreamed of one of her best friends marrying my husband, hence when he started dating me, she would always try to harass me since she never wanted an outsider to marry her brother. She became jealous when we told my husband's birthday party we were expecting, as she was also going to reveal her pregnancy. She wanted to share her wonderful news since she had miscarried once, but she felt we stole her opportunity to shine. She became so enraged then, from her pregnancy hormones, mixed a little bit of rat poison with my supper. She said she wanted me to wind up in the hospital, but she never wanted to physically hurt the baby or myself. She said she deserved a reduced punishment as she never expected me to offer her husband my plate, and since I essentially poisoned her spouse. Of course, the judge answered her pleadings. She was put to prison and will be far from our life for some considerable while. Logan is also at last free since she has also effectively divorced him. We have seen him over the months and keep including him into our family events whenever we can. He informed me that it was never my fault when we spoke, and I profusely apologized to him for handing my plate to him. Hearing that I had been rehearsing it over and over again in my thoughts, wishing I could have done things differently so he was never poisoned, I started to cry. That Logan is doing well right now makes me happy. Regarding Ethan and myself, our family now boasts a baby daughter. Our daughter's presence has warmed and lit our life despite the shadows of the past still there. Being a big brother makes our son Caleb very happy, and he has been loving and caring toward his little sister. Seeing our kids connect makes us appreciate things. My parents and in-laws have been there for us all through, guiding us through this new phase of our life.